The Florida Podcast Network, the voice of Florida.
This is episode 9A of the Finding Florida podcast on the Florida Podcast Network, Finding Americana in our state's capital, the preview.
Welcome to Finding Florida, the podcast that takes you from country to the coast. Join your tour guides, an unlikely pair, city girl Jemmy and country boy Glenn, as they explore the amazing sights and sounds of the Sunshine State.
Thank you for joining us on this lead up to our 9th adventure of the Finding Florida podcast.
In our first trip to the Panhandle, or Panhandle adjacent, pretty close enough, right?
Yeah, close enough.
Close enough. We explore it's the edge. We explore Americana in our state's capital of Tallahassee. So you'll come along with us as we ride zip lines at the local museum, tour a lumberyard turned art park, taste local brews, and so much more. From their Southern charm and canopy rows to their 10,230 ways of serving hot dogs, we are excited to take on Tallahassee. So we hopped on some segways and checked it out.
So all of our audio from that fun adventure in Tallahassee will be in our next episodes. And we have a bit of an announcement to make in a few minutes. But first, we had so much fun in Tallahassee. In fact, here are a few quick clips.
If you have a buddy coming in town for the weekend, what is that thing that you always say, we need to go do this?
Well, that's going to depend on the age of the buddy.
Say hi, Florida.
Hi, Florida! Glenn and I are finding fear in Tallahassee.
It has been investigated by paranormal investigators.
Really? Did they find anything?
A little bit upstairs and a whole lot in the garden.
Just letting you know, right now in my head I'm thinking, I can't wait to see the garden. In his head he's thinking, I don't want to see the garden.
I had to duck and try not to crash.
Which Rachel Jeter knows. He has a habit of hitting his head on things.
And you look like the kind of guy with all the colleges around here where they're offered severe discounts for the sororities to come out and take
Of
tours.
course.
I knew that.
And
Why did I know that?
And not only that, but the fraternities.
Especially if they bring the sororities.
Exactly.
Oh my
Oh my God, this has been a fun day.
This has been a super fun day.
Welcome to Tallahassee.
But on this episode, we are talking about Tallahassee, which is our state's capital. And then we'll get into a whole bunch of other fun Florida stuff, including Critters of Florida, our community clipboard, Flori-DUH, and our hero of the month. Listen in.
Enjoy the sights and activities that make Florida's capital city a special place to visit. For your next trip to Tallahassee, go to visitallahassee.com to plan and book your stay. Tallahassee, where it all comes together beautifully.
A little bit about the history of Tallahassee. First of all, it's in Leon County, which, of course, Tallahassee is the state's capital, and it became a city and capital in 1821. Native Americans, specifically the Appalachee, don't say Apache because you get big trouble. I will never make that mistake again. The Appalachee Indians lived in that part of Florida since 12,000 BC. Evidence of the
older than you.
I know. Evidence of the ancient cultures can be found today at Lake Jackson Mounds State Archaeological Site, and there's a nearby Letchworth Love Mound State Park, and they have digs there, and it's really cool. You love that stuff, so I'm sorry we didn't get to go there, actually.
I know. I would have loved to dig around in the dirt and get dirty, find some fun things.
The first non-native to find the area was Spanish explorer Hernando de Soto. You probably heard of him. And his expedition arrived and camped for the winter. This encampment was the site of the first North American Christmas celebration.
I wonder what they would think of our Christmases today in comparison.
They
Slightly
did not
different.
have Christmas lights. More Spanish explorers arrived during the 1600s and established more than 25 missions through north central Florida. Missions played an important role in the settlement of Spanish America. Tallahassee's Mission St. Louis was the western capital, located on one of the region's highest hilltops, and you're going to hear more about that in coming episodes.
Yeah, and on this highest hilltops, they built one of the highest structures I've ever seen from a native peoples in my life.
Oh my God,
really
that
impressive.
was a big structure. We'll talk about that.
Impressive.
You'll hear more about that. It's really cool.
Oh yeah.
After Florida became a U.S. territory in 1822, both St. Augustine and Pensacola were arguing over who was going to be the state capital. Well, apparently they couldn't come to an agreement, so it was decided that they would go halfway between the two cities and make that the capital. So in 1824...
so did someone from Tallahassee just slip in and sign it first?
Well, it really wasn't even Tallahassee at that point. In 1824, a log cabin in Tallahassee served as the first Capitol building.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Tallahassee was the only Confederate city east of the Mississippi that did not fall to Union forces.
Yay.
Yeah, I know. Florida State University, FSU, which you're going to hear about. We had a chance to ride through it on a Segway.
And is our friend Jessica, FPN Insider's alma mater. So hello to Jessica from Orlando. You heard her on our very first adventure episode through Disney.
Well, FSU was started in 1851. It became Florida State College for Women in 1909, and finally Florida State University, again co-ed, in 1947. Established in 1887 as the Florida State Normal College for Colored Students, Florida
Doesn't sound weird.
I know.
What happened to the abnormal college?
Yeah,
exactly.
I thought of that too. I wasn't going to say. Didn't want to be insensitive. But you can. You're allowed.
I can. Any day.
That's right. But then it became Florida Agricultural Mechanical University, and it's the oldest historically black public university in Florida.
That's very cool.
So the city's African-American heritage includes events such as the 1865 reading of the Emancipation Proclamation on the front steps of the Knott House. And this is quite significant. In 1956, the bus boycott happened that resulted in the abolishment of the segregated seating on public transportation.
Yeah, I remember learning a little bit about that from Brennan, who took us on the Segway tour. Very interesting stuff.
And up next, we have our chat with Rachel Jeter, who is the PR and marketing specialist at Visit Tallahassee and is super nice and helped us out the whole time. She was terrific.
Knows how to turn a failed bird into a winning apple. You'll understand that on a future episode. Here's Rachel. So we're speaking right now with the woman behind the magic of our trip, Mrs. Rachel Jeter from Visit Tallahassee. Now,
that's her title, magician.
Magician of fun trips.
I like to think so.
There you go. So tell us about you and what your role is at Visit Tallahassee.
So I am the marketing and PR specialist for Visit Tallahassee. I do a lot of things. We're a pretty small marketing PR team, so I kind of have a hand in everything, but definitely one of the favorite things that I get to do is plan these trips for media who get to visit, so such as yourselves. And it's such a rewarding thing because a lot of people, I think, have a perception of what Tallahassee is. And so I know this kind of going into it. So to kind of make that tour and bring them here and just see the light go off in their eyes of, wow, this is not what I thought it was going to be is probably the best thing.
I think you've seen that with us all day, actually, because we kind of had that perception too. We're from south of here, way south of here in Florida, still Florida, but it's been an eye-opener for us. Everybody thinks of Tallahassee as the place where the government happens. But that's what we all know about Tallahassee right there. And I hope that by the time we're done with this episode and the next one, that people have a whole new idea of how much fun it can be to come here.
Absolutely. And I would say it's even harder as Floridians because I'll get people from out of state that don't really know much about Florida, so they don't have that perception. But people in Florida, you think Tallahassee, you think, okay, state capital and Florida State football. That's all there is to do. But that's really not the case.
What would be that other big broad stroke about Tallahassee that you think more people need to really understand is awesome about this town?
So it's hard to narrow it down. Kind of what you'll see on the front of our visitor guides and some of our campaigns is it's all here because we are encompassing all of those other things that people do find surprising. So we're a huge outdoors destination. We're a huge foodie scene. We have local breweries that are popping up and really thriving. And of course, we have such a love for the arts. So we really have all of those other aspects that it is a very well-rounded city that people just don't realize.
And the other thing that surprised me was you have 100,000 college kids here in session?
I would say close to that. I don't know the exact number.
You have Florida State University, And what are the other two?
We have Florida State University, Florida A&M, and then we also have a couple of community colleges as well.
Bigger ones.
Yeah,
actually.
bigger. So TCC, and there are a couple others as well.
But yet, when we came in and out of town, this has a small town feel.
It does.
I mean, it really does.
It's very surprising because you think it's the state capital, and it is a huge city, but it has that small town feel, and it has that small town charm and that hospitality that you would expect from a smaller place. But we have the resources of being the state capital, having all the resources of the State Department, that we have all those amenities that you would have in a larger city.
So let me ask you, let's get real here. So this is the weekend where we notice a lot of kids are coming for orientation to FSU. So it got me thinking. College kids like descend on this town, right? What's this town like? Is there a part of the year where it's a little quieter, or is it always just tons crawling with college kids?
I would say that there is that definite give and take, that when school comes back in session, when it's fall, when football season kicks off, you definitely feel it in Tallahassee. The same could be said for session in the spring when when the legislature is meeting, like you definitely feel that. I would say we don't really have a slow season. So whether it be session in spring, or that's also our festival season. So we'll see a lot of people there over the summer. You get a lot of family travel. You get a lot of people coming for orientation, a lot of snowbirds coming down to Florida that'll pass through. And then again, fall, you've got football. And then winter, we have all of our winter events. So it never slows down here, which is probably a good problem to have.
And I want to, before we wrap up, I want to talk a little bit about the fact that Tallahassee has a small town feel, but within 15 minutes, you're in some of the most forested area of Florida.
Yeah, it's
lakes and forests and
rivers and trails and oh my.
It's incredible. I would say Tallahassee definitely, you know you're in Tallahassee when you're there, but once you get right outside, there is nature, like right in your face. We have over 600 miles of trails. In fact, we just launched a new website called Tallahassee.com. And so it has all of our trails on there. You can go on there. You can say, I want something easy that's paved, and it'll spit out all the ones, or I want somewhere that I can go horseback riding, and it'll pop out all of the trails to kind of meet your needs. And then it can link you with outdoor guides such as Harry Smith Outdoors, who you guys met at
He was
Railroad
great.
Fair.
Yeah. What's your favorite thing to do in town? What do you like to do on the weekends?
I am a big outdoors person, so I'll usually get with my friends and get my dogs, and we'll go out. We'll either go out hiking, or we like to get out on the water. We're a really close drive to Wakulla Springs, which is the largest and deepest freshwater spring in the world, which people are always very surprised that it's not on the other side of the planet. Like, no,
right.
it's right in our backyard. So
That's
we definitely...
chilly, I bet. Sounds chilly.
It is wonderful right now
it
is
it's
very hot. Yeah. So I would say probably get outdoors and then hit a local restaurant and maybe hit up one of the local breweries. So,
which we're going to be doing.
Yes, on the next episode. Well, thank you so much. Where can people learn more? Your website is great. Tell them about it.
Yes, you can find everything to do at visitallahassee.com. We have a lot of self-guided tours and some information you can find on our 31 things to do that are either free or under $10. And no matter what your interest is, you'll find something here that you'll love.
Thank you so much.
And you will too.
Well, like we hinted earlier, we have a bit of an announcement to make about the structure of the show.
So, yeah, we've decided through listening to our listeners and hearing their feedback and everything that, they wanted some certain places highlighted just a little bit more. But there's only so much we can pack into one show when you're talking about an adventure that went all day long, sometimes over 2 days. There's so much audio there, and some of these stops are 2-3 hours long. So we chop things up pretty pretty tightly and thinly sometimes. And it's been something that's been on our minds as well as apparently our listeners too. And as we probably could imagine, even the people that we're off visiting, they're kind of like, well, we wanted more. So we're trying to give you more. So how are we going to give them more?
And we didn't want to increase the length of the B episode because it was already an hour and a half.
Yeah.
So in a matter of fact, we wanted to kind of make them a little shorter.
Right. Exactly. So tell them the solution we came up with, Glenn. I think it was a great one.
So what we came up with is we're going to actually split the B episodes. Now there's going to be like a B and a C episode. They're going to be shorter episodes, and we're going to spread the adventure out over a couple of episodes. So for instance, Tallahassee, we've ended up visiting like almost 10 different places. Yeah. We're going to spread those out over 2 episodes.
Right.
So we can get a little bit more into each episode, but also we can make the episodes a little shorter for you. The other reason is that we're going to have a more regular release schedule. So you won't have to wait so long between episodes. We're going to release those on a weekly basis. So there'll be less time in between the episodes that we do.
And in fact, quick shout out to Emily, our listener, who emailed me this morning saying, hey, when are the 9A and 9B episodes coming out? And it was just that immediately feeling of, oh man, I feel so guilty. These aren't out yet. These are a bear to edit, and there's so much to get done. So this is the best solution I think it's a really good one. So Emily, hello, thank you. We've heard you and everybody else, and they will be coming out right away. And so essentially it's going to be more content for you. So it'll be a little bit more time to highlight each place, more episodes more often. And it's just going to be a better thing all around.
Great. I'm looking forward to it. And we're going to start with this Tallahassee episode. We decided not to wait.
Exactly. So you'll have to tune into those upcoming adventure episodes. We'll be starting to roll out right away. Follow us on social media at Find FL Podcast for the episode announcements, but they'll be on all of your feeds, and which is why you need to subscribe. Make sure you always subscribe. And you're going to hear all of the adventures we had, including, yes, me screaming again. Summer is here, and so is the Florida heat. Now is the time to make the adjustment. Call on Troy Giovinco Electrical Services to install fans that can cut down on your electric bill. And hurricane season has already started. Have Troy Giovinco Electrical Services install your generators and whole house surge protectors and review service upgrades for you now. You don't want to wait for it to be too late. Trust my friends at Troy Giovinco Electrical Services. They are state-certified electricians who can work on any light fixtures, including LED lighting and security lighting, or have them get you set up with brand new dock lighting in time for the height of boating season. They primarily serve Palm Beach, Martin, St. Lucie, and Indian River counties, but they service the entire state. Senior and military discounts are provided. Please call 772-201-9855 or email Melissa at melissa.giovengo, that's melissa.giovengo @yahoo.com for more information. Well, before we get to everything else that's going on in the state of Florida, I have to tell you about something really cool I did with Jordan, Glenn. So,
what did you do?
Well, we got to go to something called Feeding South Florida, and it was so much fun. I did it through a local fan group of another show called the KVJ Show, and they have a fan group called the Volunteer Army. And so I went and joined them at Feeding South Florida, and a lovely girl named Vincenza was running it, and it was so much fun. So basically the mission of this place is to feed South Florida, feed the people who never have know where their next meal is coming from. So when we got there, all the food that had been donated from families, from restaurants, households, etc., had already been sorted. So we got to sort them again into banana boxes so they could be shipped to other sites and stuff. So it was really, really fun, and it's something I've always wanted to do. And so I asked Vincenza, I said, is there an opportunity for kids to participate? And she said, as a matter of fact, there's a kids' day coming up. So I took Jordan, and it was so exciting. He got to help me sort over 2,000 pounds of food. It wasn't just the two of us, but he got to be there as we and everybody else sorted over 2,000 pounds of food. How many meals do you think that equaled, Glenn?
A lot.
1,667 meals that we helped out. So
wow.
I want to say, listen, guys, there's so much opportunity, especially in the summer. Parents are always pulling their hair out thinking, what can I do with my kids? Volunteer with your kids. That's a great way to keep them active and engaged and help them learn something. So Feeding South Florida is a great place to go. You can go to feedingsouthflorida.org to find out more about them. They have locations and work with organizations throughout the state. And they have a hashtag Summer Hunger Ends Here. So you can follow them that way too. Well, thank you to everyone who has joined us in the FPN Insiders on Facebook. We've had so many new members join this last month, and the memes and the videos and all the articles and crazy stuff about Florida that you're posting are just some of the best things ever. So keep all that fun Florida stuff coming, please. I love every single post. And if you haven't joined FPN Insiders yet, what are you waiting for? That group is a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying them.
And also remember to look us up on social media as Find FL Podcast.
So I do have a quick update for you, Glenn.
What's that?
Okay. So Finding Florida has been listened to in 48 states. Can you believe that?
Oh, cool.
I know.
That's cool.
I know. So which two?
So other people outside of Florida care about Florida too?
I think so.
Is that what you're saying?
Oh, yeah, I think so. So which two states do you think we've had the most of our listeners have come from?
Georgia and Texas.
Ooh, those are two very good guesses. I should have told you could also say Florida, because Florida is one of the top two. And the other
I was thinking besides Florida.
I know. Sorry, I didn't pull number 3. I didn't think ahead like that. But yeah, it's Florida and California actually is the other one. So that's really exciting.
Well, it makes sense. Two of the biggest states.
Exactly. And so, like I said, we have listeners in 48 states. So which two do you think are the holdouts, Glenn?
Hawaii and North Dakota.
Oh, you're so close. Wyoming, not close at all, but South Dakota. So it's Wyoming and South Dakota.
Well, that was close. I was in the right area.
You were. So,
there's nobody lives in South Dakota, so that's why.
Don't say that. I was just going to say, people, if you have friends in either Wyoming or South Dakota, give them a shout today and say, hey, we got this really great show. You should listen to it called Finding Florida.
Yeah, and Florida, where it's warm, when you're freezing in the winter, you can listen to our show in South Dakota.
Exactly. It's a win-win for all.
I don't know what the problem with Wyoming is. There's some really cool people living in Wyoming, so get on it, people.
Thank you. And to everyone in the Dakotas that Glenn has insulted, we apologize. All right, guess what time it is, Glenn?
What time is it?
It's time for us to find out more fun stuff about the rest of the state of Florida. You know, this is my favorite part. And oh gosh, there is so much to catch you up on. It's just not even funny. Here we go.
Officer in need of assistance from animal control.
Have you ever climbed a tree, Glenn?
Yes, when I was a kid, we had a big tree. We used to climb it all the time.
Oh my gosh. I didn't climb a tree. You're going to laugh. But until I was maybe in my 22, 23 age range. I know. It was really sad. There's some beautiful trees outside this place called Murakami Museum. And so it's the first tree I finally climbed. I was in my early 20s. But you are not going to believe.
Were you sober at the time?
Actually, I was. Believe it or not. I just exited the museum. So either I was sober or horrifically drunk on my way in if I wasn't sober. So no, I was totally I was sober. But anyways, well, let's let this 911 call from a mom in Titusville speak for itself.
My daughter's stuck in a freaking tree. There's gators surrounding her. We can't get her out. Please, she's 15.
One moment, please.
She got in the tree to get out of the water. There's gators on land and in the water right under her. Oh my God, please hurry, please.
Ma'am, I'm getting the call in.
Okay, she's screaming. There's gators chomping at her kid's feet, and the lady says, "One moment, please. I'll be right back." Put you on hold. I expected to hear music playing.
Right. Oh my gosh! Oh, Lord have mercy. So Jordan Broderick, she was 15. She was floating on a raft in a creek near the Forest Service Road in the Alexander Springs Park area in your neck of the woods, Ocala National Forest.
Yep, that's right.
And an alligator started approaching her. So she grabbed a large branch that was hanging over the water. Thank God it was there. And she managed to climb herself into the tree. And the alligator just decided, all right, I don't have anything else better to do. I'm just going to sit down here and wait and hiss at you. Scare the crap out of you and your mom. So that's what it did. It just sat there and waited. Well, when the deputy got there, he found that the girl in the tree was screaming and she was tired from hanging on the branch. And so what do you think he did?
Oh, I heard this story. He did the only thing he could do.
I know. Well, he took out his trusty old AR-15. One shot later, crisis over. Oh, man. Talk about an interesting day at the office.
Yeah, this poor girl. She's never going canoeing or on a raft again, ever.
I know. Okay, well, this Critters of Florida is a doubleheader. I have a series of clips for you for this next Florida Critter story, Glenn. Go ahead and play the first clip of a video taken in Ocoee, Florida.
Jack Redding and his friends ride around their neighborhood, the hammocks in Ocoee, all the time. This adventure started late last month when they saw police and the gator.
I saw a big 9-foot gator walking around the neighborhood. It was in the yard, and the cops were like right near the mailboxes following it around so it didn't go anywhere.
So in Florida, you climb trees to get away from gators. You go on bike rides and run into gators. I mean, avoiding gators in Florida is like an athletic sport, apparently.
It is.
So why do you think I pulled this story, Glenn? What unexpected thing do you think may have happened next? Any guesses?
Oh, the gator had to do something unexpected. So the gator went after the cops.
Well, let's find out. Play that second clip.
You could see the trapper and police officers pick up the gator, but that gator won't give up. You can see it headbutt the trapper. His glasses fly off his head, and he goes down.
I knocked him out. He was knocked out for like 4 seconds or something.
I love kids when they get reported.
Oh, we're just getting going, all right? The Mike Tyson carnage continues. Play the next clip.
Few moments later, you can see another officer get swatted by the gator's tail. Then it slid off the truck, but its legs were tied, so it couldn't go anywhere. The trapper finally got the beast in the bed using a winch to drag it up. But even then, it lets them know one last time, it's not happy.
This gator likes suburban living. He did not want to go back to the swamp.
My goodness. It was like, oh, hell no. I'm just over here minding my own business.
That's right. I was just looking for goodies in the trash cans, and you people came along.
All right, there's one more clip that wraps this up with a nice little bow.
The trapper had a pretty busy day. We're told he had a knot on his head after that headbutt from the gator, but otherwise seemed to be doing okay.
I was just standing there watching. I thought it was pretty insane.
I love it.
Do you know your kid is being raised in Florida when that's their reaction?
Yeah, that's right. Go outside on your bike and find a 9-foot gator.
Well, it's just another day on a bike. Love it. Well, I found out some very good news. Earlier this month, Governor Rick Scott announced that Florida welcomed an all-time record 33.2 million visitors to the Sunshine State in the first quarter of 2018. This represents an increase of 7.4% over the same period in 2017 and is the largest quarter for visitation in Florida's history. So, whoa. Ken Lawson, our very good friend, he's our like super buddy by now, right? Ken Lawson, president and CEO of Visit Florida, said, "We will continue developing more innovative and cutting edge marketing programs to build on this success across the country and across the world. I'm very proud of our team's efforts as we continue to market Florida as the #1 global destination." I mean, we're in it, man. This is all happening. He
didn't recognize us as the sole reason for the 7% increase in visitors.
Well, the reason I've heard through the grapevine is that they're setting up an announcement of epic proportions on the next quarter. It's going to be all about us next quarter.
We'll be included in that one, I'm sure.
Oh my gosh. So one of those new attractions that will be adding to our travel and tourism beginning in the fall is one that you just won't even believe, Glenn. And it's coming to somewhere we just were, Fort Lauderdale. Play the story, Glenn. Yeah.
3 eye-catching bars and breweries are set to open this summer and fall in Fort Lauderdale. Here's where you can grab a pint and even throw an axe. Chops and Hops, Fort Lauderdale's first axe-throwing bar, is set to open in September. Axe-throwing bars are becoming a national trend.
What?
Sessions will cost $35 and last 90 minutes. Visitors must sign waivers before they begin.
Yeah, no kidding.
Learn the technique from the bar's experts. A 10-tap bar will serve craft beer, cold brew coffee, and wine, along with snacks like chips, jerky, and popcorn.
What?
And your own
insurance company in their right mind is going to ensure a bar where people are drunk throwing axes.
Apparently, this is a thing. And I'm like, remind me to, I mean, I want to encourage them. I hope they have nothing but success. This concept blows my mind.
Is it open yet? Because we're doing a competition on our next episode.
No.
Good.
And
Too
I
bad.
am not going anywhere in a room where you are handling an axe. It's not happening. But
oh my gosh, alcohol and axes, perfect combination.
I know, right? And if you're excited about visiting Florida for this reason or any other reason, officials in Lake Worth would like you to know that no, there are no zombies roaming around the streets because, as a last side note in this community clipboard, residents of a Florida city, Lake Worth, received alerts about a power outage, but also were warned to look out for zombies. They received an official alert that warned more than 7,000 customers who lost power it said, you lost power, quote, due to extreme zombie activity.
Oh, you can't even make those jokes anymore. There'll be people with shotguns shooting each other.
So, city spokesman Ben Kerr later posted on Facebook. They had to actually go to Facebook with a message saying that officials were investigating the bogus alert and that he wanted to reiterate that Lake Worth does not have any zombie activity currently. I think that is amazing. No zombies.
No zombies.
Oh my gosh, so there are so many creative ways to describe what we're going through right now in Florida, and that is the heat. I found this meme that was really, really funny. Does anything jump out at you, Glenn, on it?
Yeah, I love this meme. It goes through the different months and talks about the weather here. Like it says in January, hot, maybe cold at night. And it goes February and March and April. And they all say hot, hot, hot. And then May says really hot. And then June says like you were on the sun. And then July says like you are wrapped in tin foil on the sun, which is pretty much true for this month. And then I love August. It says like you are covered in baby oil wrapped in tin foil on the sun.
Exactly. So, oh my gosh, it is hot. So, though there are no zombies in Florida yet, the summer heat and swamp ass must already be making people crazy.
And until you've walked a mile suffering from a severe case of swamp ass, do not cast judgment.
Because I have a doozy of a story for you this time around, Glenn, and it comes from our very own FPN insider, Steve Heath, and there's just so much duh to go around. Play the first clip of the story out of Miami.
We are now hearing the urgent 911 call made by the guy clinging to the hood of a car as it speeds down a highway at 70 miles an hour.
911, what is your emergency? Yes, I'm on top of a speeding vehicle. Someone's trying to steal my car. Okay, what's the address?
Address? Say what?
I don't even know where I'm at.
For 19 terrifying miles down busy I-95 South near Miami, 22-year-old Junior Francis hung on for dear life.
He's swerving the car and I'm on top of the car.
Okay, sir, I'm letting them know, okay?
I really need help.
Okay, would you get your phone out to make a call, or would you be holding on with both? How did he do that?
I mean, there's got to be a point when you're getting on 95 and you say, okay, maybe this is the point at which I ditch.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, they were probably doing 50 miles an hour. It'd be tough to ditch.
No, but getting on, there's got to be a stoplight, or, I mean, no one just turns and cruises our way on tonight. They've always got someone in front of you, a stoplight or something.
Good Lord, I want to know how he made the call. That's crazy.
Okay. All right, play the second clip. Let's find out more.
Okay. Jeez.
The drama started when the exes got into an argument over who was going to use the Mercedes sedan.
As I was getting ready to go and pick up my daughter, he hopped on top of my car. And I told him, get off the car, and he wouldn't get off the car.
Did you ever think to yourself, you shouldn't be driving?
No, I had to go get my job. So I wasn't going to deal with any foolishness. Like, he had plenty of times to get off the car. He didn't want to stop.
So she took off, even filming the wild ride from inside the car. Isidore heading south on 95 and even thinking to herself, this was beyond bizarre.
Yeah, no kidding. Is that the craziest thing? Yeah, that qualifies as bizarre.
Tell me they arrested her for stupidity or something.
Play clip number 3.
Okay.
And this is what the crazy scene looked like from inside the car.
Get off of my car! Get off!
It was shot by the driver, and that's her ex-boyfriend. You can see him hanging onto the windshield wiper with one hand and his cell phone in the other hand. Cops pulled the car over, and Patricia Isidore was charged with negligence and exposure to harm.
He is not pressing charges against her, but she says that she may take a restraining order out on him.
I feel like he put himself in danger. I didn't put him in danger.
I think they both need restraining orders.
I mean, like I said, there's plenty of to go around.
I wish you would have gotten off the car. You were doing 50 down the highway.
For 19 miles. It's unbelievable.
There's always two sides to the story.
Oh, my God. Oh, trust me, I heard hers. It wasn't worth playing. It really, really wasn't. Ugh, all right. This month's hero. So excited to introduce you and end this show on a happy note by introducing you to a Florida hero I heard about recently named Fabio Franco. And I'll start by letting you hear the moment that he was reunited with the woman he rescued, 94-year-old Alice Modine of Boca Raton.
Are you Fabio? Hello. Well.
How are you?
I'm wonderful. Oh.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Is that not the sweetest little old lady voice you've
ever
heard?
Yes. What happened?
Goodness. Okay, so she was driving. She's a Boca Raton resident. She was driving on Glades Road during heavy, heavy rain. And you know how if when you're driving along the road, there's sometimes these large grassy embankments on either side? Well, she pulled over thinking she was just pulling over to the side of the road. But and stopping on the shoulder, but she ended up hopping the curve and driving her Corolla into what had formed as a lake there. She drove her car right into the lake. Well, Franco, who's 46, he was from Deerfield Beach. He was driving home, and he said he thought something was weird when he saw her start to drive off in that direction, thinking, I think that's just a lake over there. So he decided to pull over, and he ran back, and he got her out. She is sinking, and he got her out of her sinking car and everything and carried her out of the lake. So yay to Fabio. My heart was so warmed when I heard this story. Play the second clip, please.
I wasn't ready to go, but I figured, well, if this is my time, so be it.
I popped the back door open and I said, I'm going to get you out of here. And then she was just, okay. Okay. I took her out of the car and then tried to walk her back close to where the grass is, and that muck would just go all the way up to my knee. I'm like, oh, how am I going to get the both of us out of here? It made me feel good that one day that I could actually help somebody.
Well, you did that. Helping is an understatement.
I guess so.
Yeah, so
his name's Fabio Franco.
I know. She got her life saved by a guy named Fabio. She got
rescued by a guy named Fabio.
Now, I will answer every lady's question out there. No, he does not have long hair.
Is he blonde and have long hair?
No, it's short, dark hair, but he was tall, dark, and handsome, guys. I'm serious. So thank you to Fabio Franco for being a Florida hero.
Good job, Fabio.
Done. Well done.
Well, thank you for coming along on this ride with us once again as we explore Florida in the Finding Florida podcast. There's so much to do in our state's capital, and we're going to give you a look at that over the next couple of episodes. 9B and 9C will be coming out shortly. We'll be riding segways and checking out art parks in Tallahassee, plus so much more, now to be delivered across multiple episodes.
And for our adventure next month, we are gaming from Palm Beach to Dade County.
Woohoo!
I know, we're going geek versus gamer. We're diving into some classic arcade game venues, trying out...
No, hold on. This is not just going gaming. We are having a competition.
That's right.
It is a challenge episode, the first one I think we've done, where it's head-to-head.
I know. I'm going to beat you on everything. They'll see. We'll be racing go-karts and finding out the latest new angle on the classic Florida game of golf and just having a good time. So I can't wait. Geek versus gamer. Glenn, it is on.
And you are going down, girl.
No way.
So stay tuned to our social media for us to announce that agenda coming up. And we'd love to have you meet us at our meeting stop. Wherever that's going to be.
Wherever it's going to be. Probably 10th Level Tavern. You'll have to find out. And to find us on social media, just head to findingfloridapodcast.com for all the links or search for Find FL Podcast. Hook up with our new Finding Florida Podcast YouTube channel for behind-the-scenes videos of our adventures.
And here's to your next adventure. It was the same as the opposite.
And or read ahead.
Yeah, I did read them, but when I read them, they make sense. When I try and say them, they don't. So all of our audio from this fun adventure through Tallahassee. 3, 2, 1. Okay, let me start over.
I hate when you do that. It's so good. It's natural.
Okay. I should know, though. I was there.
Oh, this is true. Okay, good point. I'll give you that one.
3, 2, 1. Phew. Actually, we did that in better time than we usually do. I made less mistakes.